Okay, what if I told you the ultimate playbook for your company? The one for survival, for total dominance, wasn't cooked up in some Silicon Valley garage. What if it was actually written on a battlefield 2,000 years ago? Well, we're about to find out.
So, yeah, that's the big question we're tackling. How can a strategy from 2,000 years ago actually help you secure your market share today? And look, this isn't some dusty history lesson. If you're an executive, if you're a founder, this is a legit masterclass in building a defensible strategy that actually lasts. All right, so our story kicks off with something a lot of you might know all too well, the founder's dilemma. We're going to look at this guy, General Wang Ping, but not as a warrior. Now, think of him as this overlooked talent, just brimming with untapped potential. So here he is. This is Wang Ping. Now, he started out working for Wei. Think of them as the big, dominant incumbent of their time, the Google or Amazon of the era, right? But he pretty quickly figured out that in a huge organization like that, his talents were just getting lost. He was being totally ignored. So what did he do? He did what any smart founder would do. He pivoted. He jumped ship to the smaller, more agile startup, Shu, a place where he could finally make a real impact.
And what's so cool about his story is how much it looks like a modern startup journey. You see the incubation phase? That was his time grinding it out as a low-level guy in that big corporation Wei. Then comes the pivot. That's his strategic leap over to the competitor, Shu. And almost right away, he gets his first round funding. Now, we're not talking about money here, but something way more valuable, trust. He got it from their CEO, the legendary Zhuge Liang, who saw exactly what Wang Ping brought to the table, stability and pure pragmatism.
Okay, so this all leads to a crucial moment. You know, every company, every startup eventually faces a crisis. For Shu, theirs was a big one. We're talking a moment of near total collapse, a catastrophic market failure that was caused by, you guessed it, just awful leadership at the very top.
And this right here, this just perfectly illustrates the conflict. You've got the Battle of Jieting. The commander, Ma Su, makes this classic high-risk, high-reward gamble. It's the CEO's bad call, right? Let's occupy the high ground. Sounds great, but he completely ignored his supply lines, a fatal mistake. But Wang Ping, our pragmatic engineer, he warned against it. His advice was simple: fortify the base, secure a stable, defensible position, protect the company's core assets. And, well, as you're about to see, only one of them was right.
So yeah, Ma Su's gamble, it failed spectacularly. The army was completely routed, total chaos. But in the middle of all that, Wang Ping's calm leadership was the only thing that held everything together. He managed to organize an orderly retreat, fighting off the enemy just enough to save the core team. Look, he didn't win the battle that day, but he did something way more important. He saved the company's most vital asset, its people. He made sure they could live to fight another day.
So after proving his worth under intense fire, I mean, you can't get much more intense than that, Wang Ping finally gets his own product line to manage. He's put in charge of defending Hanzhong, a territory that was absolutely 100% critical to the survival of the entire Shu kingdom.
And this is where he develops what we're calling the Iron Wall Protocol. Now, this wasn't just about literally building walls. Think bigger. It was a complete defensive business system. First, he leveraged his unfair advantages, in this case, the terrain. Then, he created deep moats with fortifications. And crucially, he maintained an agile response team, mobile reserves, that were ready to counter any threat instantly.
The best way to think about it, it's like you're growing a market garden, right? First, you got to choose fertile soil. That means identifying your most defensible market niche, just like he used the mountains of Hanzhong. Next, you plant deep roots. This is about building a sticky product, something with layers of defense. Then, you build a strong fence. Create those high barriers to entry that keep competitors out. And finally, you always keep water ready. That's your agile reserve, ready to put out fires or jump on a sudden opportunity.
Okay, so all of this, it's all building to the ultimate test, the real climax of his career. It's the classic story of a small startup facing down an absolute market giant. We're calling it the 30-to-1 victory. Just look at that number, 30-to-1. Let that sink in. I mean, this is the kind of number that makes most venture capitalists run for the hills, screaming. But Wang Ping, he didn't see a death sentence. He saw an opportunity.
This chart really puts it into perspective, doesn't it? On one side, you've got Wang Ping's team, fewer than 3,000 people. And on the other side, the competitor, led by this guy Cao Shuang, rolling in with a massive force of over 100,000. This wasn't a skirmish, it was a full-scale invasion, a hostile takeover attempt, basically.
So what happened? The result was total market defense. Wang Ping's iron wall strategy held perfectly. He used that terrain he knew so well to his advantage, he stretched the enemy's supply lines until they were paper thin, and he just held them off long enough for reinforcements to show up. The massive competitor? They were completely exhausted and forced into a full, totally humiliating retreat.
So how on earth did he pull that off? Well, this historical assessment really says it all. Stable and meticulous, strict in military discipline. See, his entire philosophy was built on one thing: stability over reckless ambition. He wasn't trying to conquer the world. He just needed to make his own little piece of it completely, totally unconquerable.
Okay, let's bring this all home. What does this ancient history actually mean for you, right now? Because this is more than just a cool story. It's a truly actionable blueprint for any founder, executive, or investor listening.
So here it is, 3 steps to building your own fortress, all inspired by Wang Ping. Step 1 is to secure your Han zone. That means you define and then utterly dominate a core, defensible niche market before you even dream of expanding. Step 2, deploy your iron wall. You gotta layer your defenses, a sticky product, a powerful brand, and absolutely exceptional service. And step 3, and this might be the most important one, lead with stability. Prioritize sustainable, defensible growth over those flashy, high-risk, winner-take-all gambles that so often blow up in your face.
And all of this leaves us with one final, crucial question you need to ask yourself about your own venture. Is your company right now a fragile little sapling just sitting out in an open field, totally exposed to any competitor that comes along? Or are you busy building an iron fortress, one that's ready to withstand any storm that comes your way?